I'm Oli Davis, this is the WrestleTalk News. Wrestling has been full of debuts recently. Adam Edge Copeland jumping ship to AEW, Jade Cargill jumping ship to WWE, and ex-AEW star Brian Pillman Jr. wrestling his first WWE match on the Tuesday 24th episode of NXT. But the biggest wrestling debut of 2024 has actually gone down in France. White Rock! Or Blanc Rock, as they say over there. The Grevon Museum in Paris unveiled their interpretation of Rock the Dwayne Johnson, announcing him as 1.96 meters tall and weighs 119 kilograms. And also Caucasian. The museum's website admitted Dwayne Johnson presented many challenges. The eyes of Dwayne Johnson's waxwork had to be redone 3 times to avoid too dark a tint, making the star's face too hard and erasing its warm aspect. Yep, You certainly avoided making him too dark. The Dwayne himself has shared James Jefferson's roast of the waxwork online, who observes,
"It looked like The Rock ain't never seen the sun of day. It looked like The Rock about to be part of the royal family."
Johnson added, "For the record, I'm going to have my team reach out to our friends at Grevon Museum in Paris, France. French flag emoji! So we can work at updating my wax figure here with some important details and improvements, starting with my skin colour. And next time I'm in Paris, I'll stop in and have a drink with myself." Am I the only one thinking all Johnson statues should be carved out of rock? It's right there! White Rock will have to wait and see about his next WWE contract though, as the company is set for a very interesting next year. All Elite Wrestling officially announced it was actually a thing in January 2019, with an initial roster that included them very big names: Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, and Chris Jericho. As the year went on, with the promotion's first pay-per-view Double or Nothing adding Jon Moxley in May, and a weekly network TV deal secured for that October, WWE initiated a strategic response, signing up as many wrestling talents as possible to ridiculously long deals. I think the Miz's contract is on par with some Scientology ones. It's like 1,000 years. This included locking down as many wrestlers as they could, paying much higher rates to everyone from AJ Styles to Jinder Mahal. The Good Brothers of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, for instance, reportedly signed contracts worth more than $500,000 a year, in deals at the time PW Insider described as ridiculously amazing. This was likely to stop AJ, Gallows, and Anderson debuting for AEW on the first ever episode of Dynamite as planned. So we got Jake Hager instead. We've got an AJ Styles at home! Not that contracts with Vince McMahon are worth anything though, because he released Gallows and Anderson practically as soon as the pandemic hit. They returned to WWE under Triple H 2 years later. But these lucrative big money deals did come with a catch. They're multi-year durations, often between 3 to 5 years. For the first time in 2 decades, WWE had a competitor in AEW that could rival their own deep pockets for talent. And with each round of negotiations likely ramping up wrestlers' prices even more, they wanted to lock each one into the same pay for as long as possible. But WWE's strategy, first laid out in 2019, could only last so long, and it's set to run out imminently. With the longest reported contract lengths at 5 years, with a mixture of some 5-year deals from the outset, while others had 3-year plus a 2-year extension, a number of huge WWE names are potentially up for grabs in 2024. Based on wrestlers talking about their own contracts in interviews, these are thought to include AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio, Alexa Bliss, Drew McIntyre, Becky Lynch, Ricochet, the whole New Day, the Usos, Wade Barrett, Sheamus, the Street Profits, Randy Orton, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens. If we look at the AEW roster, however, there are far fewer contracts set to expire over the next year, the only reported names being Tony Schiavone, Andrade, Bryan Danielson, and Dustin Rhodes. This is because AEW were able to sign new deals with their biggest stars months ago, securing Kenny Omega, the Bucks, and Hangman Page through to at least 2027. And this is me taking a very educated guess here, agreeing new terms with MJF ages ago, despite him saying his contract runs out in 2024 too. So why is AEW's a far more secure roster position over WWE right now? The answer goes to the very top. No, more to the top. No, even more to the top than that. No, that was a storyline. That doesn't actually count in the overall organogram of ownership. More to the top. Yes, it's the bossiest of business bosses, WWE's new parent company, Endeavor. Fightful Select is reporting that while many top WWE stars have their contracts expiring next year, they haven't been approached with discussions to renew their deals. The only negotiations that have taken place, which you'd assume are the Drew McIntyre and LA Knight discussions already reported, only happened because the talent approached management directly, not the other way around. Very interestingly, both McIntyre and Knight are reportedly very far apart on money, a concerning sign if talent is expecting similar raises on their current deals, in line with WWE's consistently increasing high annual revenue. Dave Meltzer described McIntyre's recent negotiations, for instance, as just a numbers game. He wants a certain number, and they did not offer that certain number. But although his contract is up in April because of time added due to injury, he's not a guy who's looking to leave, because it seems for a change under Triple H, WWE's top talent are far more satisfied creatively as they have been in the past, and backstage morale is the highest it's been for ages. I wonder why that is. But with the new owner's endeavor, many wrestlers' futures might come down to whether their new corporate overlords see higher money deals as a good business investment. Fightful adds many wrestlers believe they haven't been approached about negotiations because WWE was waiting for their merger with the UFC into TKO Holdings to complete. But that concluded over a month ago now on September 14th. Several talent are reportedly waiting to find out what offers will look like under the new company, which could be higher, lower, or on par with what they're currently making. You'd expect that if it's the on par or lower figures, they'd at least entertain discussions with AEW. If Endeavor's ownership of the UFC is anything to go by, it doesn't look optimistic. Fighter pay has been an ongoing criticism of the MMA promotion for over a decade, with critics claiming the UFC only shares 16% of its revenue with its fighters, a number UFC does dispute, whereas many fighters believe it should be half, which is more in line with other large sports organizations like the NFL. This is as the UFC is also having increasingly higher earning years, just like WWE. Who in WWE do you think is most likely to entertain offers from AEW? Give me some Jinder Mahal is All Elite graphics in the comments below.
Watch WWE Crown Jewel 2023 alongside Luke Owen, Oli Davis, Tempest, Dan Layton from WrestleTalk and over 100 other wrestling fans, along with a live version of our board game series, No Holds Barred. We'll be raising money for charity and doing our live reactions to Crown Jewel from the venue, which means you'll have the chance to be on camera and be part of the WrestleTalk live experience. This is the best way to watch wrestling pay-per-views, and tickets are available now. Get your tickets today, and we will see you there to be part of moments like this.
Jay has the spark, has got it in! 1, 2, 3!
NXT's Halloween Havoc Night 1 saw two huge title changes, with Chase U finally beating the family to become the new NXT Tag Team Champions, and Becky Lynch shockingly dropping the NXT Women's Championship in the main event. Becky Lynch to AEW confirmed. It was Lyra Valkyria who dethroned the man, instantly dating mine and Luke's Becky NXT predictions for our Crown Jewel 3 count that goes out on Friday. I'm so happy for you, Lyra! Don't they ever think of our content? But here's the whole show's happenings in 1 minute, one take. Shotzi provided instant nightmare fuel dressed as Pinhead to open the Halloween-themed show. Roxanne Perez beat Kiana James in a Hardcore Devil's Playground match, which included a picket fence as a weapon. A more heelish Carmelo says he's got to go through Trick Williams to get another title shot. He didn't attack him. AEW's Brian Pillman Jr. made his in-ring debut as Lexis King, beating Dante Chen. Lola Vice beat Carmen Petrovic, and Kalani Jordan beat Ariana Grace in the breakout semi-finals. Wagner and Mr. Stone are friends again. Usually means someone's turning heel. Chase U beat Tony D'Angelo and Stax to win the tag titles after Chase refused to cheat. Nathan Frazier says he's going to take Don Dom's North American title. Blair Davenport beat Gigi Dolan with more weapons. Tiffany Stratton and Fallon Henley brawled. The women of Chase U set up a women's tag team title shot. Akira Tozawa has stolen Noam Dar's Heritage Cup, and Valkyria beat Lynch in a great main event as Jade Cargill watched from the stage on a platform with 2 security guards. I'm so good at that. But for now, what are the 10 greatest mid-card championship reigns ever? Watch on to find out.